Hello. Um, I'm gonna try to make this quick because I really don't want to talk about this topic a whole lot. I really don't. I don't want to talk about this topic a lot because there's really not a whole lot to say about it. We talk about, the gang violence. Some of these brothers out here in these streets just killing each other. I look at gang violence and, some of these brothers' Twitter beefs. It's like, a black man, his pride is always compromised. I look at black men in America, I feel like the most thing that they fight for is their pride. And I truly do believe that. Pride and ego, whatever is left of that after they have been marred by all kinds of systemic realities, all a black man has is his pride. And you know I think that young black men are being conditioned to look at pride in almost a very demonic way, where they don't look at, remember when you were a kid, my parent used to say, if they don't put their hands on you, don't worry about what people say about you is none of your business. But a lot of people are starving for credibility these days, especially a lot of these young kids. They're starving for credibility. And so, a lot of them aren't making anything of themselves. And so they go to the streets, and the streets is where they can find their respect and their credibility in some way to boost their level of pride in themselves. So gang culture, the psychology of it, I think is something that we really need to study. And I think, there's a lot of root cause issues for why we have gang culture. A lot of it being that fathers are not raising their sons. Mothers are raising their sons and then eventually giving them over to somebody who is not the best influence to raise their son. And so I happened to be browsing through YouTube, and I ran across a live stream that was going on right now about a rapper out in Inglewood that was shot and killed on Instagram Live. And I don't run to go and see things like this. You know what I mean? I don't run to go and see people being killed. That's not something that I would want to see. I don't think that that's just, I think there's a weird psychology, I think, in people that enjoy just going to things like that to be entertained. I'm not entertained by seeing people fighting on the internet. I'm not entertained by people dying on the internet. I'm not entertained by people outright disrespecting people on the internet. Those are not things that entertain me, honey. When it's live time, you're gonna have to give mommy a little bit of space. Give me a second, hon. But I wanted to say that I just saw this rapper. I looked at the video, the live stream, and this man showed this rapper being killed. He was in his car interacting with one of his friends, and he was shot several times. And you could actually see this man dying on the internet. And it was weird because, normally, I think a normal person would just look at it and they'd just be shock factor, but, I looked into some of the feedback as to what this person could have gotten himself into that caused that situation. And apparently, he allegedly may have been involved in disfiguring or disrespecting a memorial of Nipsey Hussle, who was very well respected in that area. And, I started thinking, we hear a lot of these young rappers, and a lot of them are dying because they are outright disrespecting people who have died. They are outright disrespecting people who have died. You listen to a lot of the hip hop songs from some of these gang banging rappers, and they are talking about people that they have killed in a very heartless manner. I think, one of, there's this song, and I don't want to talk about this rapper. He was about 26 years old, and he was getting ready to rise up at the top of his career. And then he dropped a song called Dead Bitches, and he proceeded to name a number of people that maybe allegedly his affiliate gang had murdered. And this is what we are doing. And this is the things that we are accepting in our community. And we have this subculture, this gang culture of Black men who are so removed from from civil mindset. Because these men, these young brothers in the hood, they are not civilized. They're not civilized. And there's a plethora of reasons why they are not civilized. So when they look at another brother in the hood as nothing more than an op playing Call of Duty, we have to figure out what is going on in that family structure, even if it's a single mom structure, where these 12-year-old boys and up are going and picking each other off heartlessly. What mother in the hood is raising their child like that? And a lot of times, they don't want to put it on the parents. You know what I mean? But if parents step back, they will realize that today's parents are giving their kids a lot more freedom and clout. What's up, Marshall? Than parents growing up. I was not allowed to run the streets like some of these kids do today. I was not allowed to disrespect my parents the way some of these kids do today. And a lot of that is, to me, when you look at the root cause of a lot of this gang affiliated violence and behavior, you can isolate the root causes. Poor parenting, broken homes, father either dead or in jail because of the same recycled behaviors. And then single moms taken up with these type of men, not acting like they have options not to be with men that are going to be bad fathers and have nothing but the traits of a potentially bad father. And when I listen to these young boys and even these kids who are being caught up in the crossfire of this gang activity, and it's like, we're like, some of us in the Black community are acting like animals. We're acting like wild animals that have absolutely, we have not been tamed. We have not been tamed at all. So when I look at a young man who disrespected the dead allegedly, and as a recourse of him disrespecting the dead, he is now dead. And I challenge some of these young brothers, what can a dead man do to disrespect you that you feel like it is okay to continuously disrespect him? Like, why is it okay that vengeance doesn't stop at the bullet? That now you have to take it a step further and antagonize the families of these individuals that have been caught in your crossfire with disrespect. Like, Nipsey Hussle has been dead for years. Why on earth would somebody feel it is necessary to go and disrespect his memorial? What does that do to your pride? What does that do for your sect? Are you just saying I need to show disrespect to the sect that was loyal to him? Like, my thing is, why are we disrespecting dead people? Why are we disrespecting dead people? Why are we playing music on the mainstream in the hood that is disrespecting dead people? Why are we allowing this trend among our young Black men to continue? Because all it has led to is death, more death, retaliation death. You know what I mean? A lot of our brothers, our young brothers, They are literally setting themselves up to die every time they get on Twitter and Instagram. They are setting themselves up to die. And it's so bad that you can't even take a picture with a family member that is affiliated with a gang, because if you get spotted and somebody recognizes you from that picture, there is no questions. These people are just picking other people off like they're nothing. And this is black on black crime. This is black on black crime. And everybody want to talk about black on black crime, and we shouldn't be talking about that. We should be focused on what the white man is doing. And I'm like, dude, we are a much more detriment to ourselves than a white man will ever be. And that is real talk. That is real talk. I mean, I don't understand why are we so removed from God that people, and don't disrespect the dead. Stop disrespecting the dead. We need to drill that into our young people. It is never okay to disrespect somebody who is no longer here. I don't care what they did. Because in the Bible, it tells us that the wages that sin pays is death. And the Bible also tells us that the dead is in a much better condition than people who are living. So why continue to disrespect somebody who is no longer here? Because all you're doing is utilizing their death as a way to disrespect people who are already living. And as we've seen, this young man allegedly disrespected this man's memorial, defaced it, wrote all over it, supposedly. And in a very short amount of time, this young man is dead. So what are the lessons for our young brothers? Stop disrespecting the dead. Stop disrespecting the dead. There is nothing that a dead man can do to you at the point of being underground. And our young brothers are dying as a result of this. Like, they think it's fun. I'm super flexing on Twitter. I'm super, yeah, look at, I got this dude's blood on my shoes. Yeah, I'm smoking this dude. I'm smoking him now. I done killed him. I done took him from his family. I done took him from this earth. He's no longer a problem or a threat to me or my ego or pride. And yet now I want to continue to be disrespectful to this person that I killed by antagonizing. Like, this is unacceptable behavior. And Black people need to start rejecting these things. Like, we should not have music that is on mainstream right now, bumping in the hoods, bumping to our young brothers, talking about get it back in blood. Get what back in blood? Is that kill another nigga? That's what I get out of these songs these days. It is the anthem for Black men killing each other. And all the while they're playing this music, they're talking about defunding the police so that the brothers can do it. I said it last year. The defunding the police movement is AKA black on black genocide. If we don't regulate the niggas killing each other, then it just makes it so much easier for them to do it. Population control. Population control the Black community by feeding them a bunch of music that tell Black men to gang up, squad up, get with your shooters, and then y'all play Call of Duty with y'all brothers. These young brothers are doing what the real racist ass white people who intend for Black people to stay down, they're doing their jobs for them unknowingly because of gang beef. You think it's gang beef. You think it's gang beef. No, my brother, you have been fed to hate your brother vicariously through the music that you continue to listen to. I was listening to a young brother, he's more spiritually inclined, and he said that he had to stop listening to Lil Durk's music. He said, I can't explain to you what that music did to me. Hip hop music today is the devil's song. It is the devil's symphony, if you will. And it's telling black people to kill each other. Hip hop is not our culture anymore. It's not the black man's culture anymore. It is the black man's detriment. And we need to start being realistic about these things. We should not be seeing our brothers picked off online. And why are they being picked off? Because they straight up disrespecting dead people. So our brothers, we saying to each other, it's not enough for me to kill you. Now I gotta go and disrespect you, taunt you, and antagonize the people that are left behind. That is what we are saying is okay every time we turn on the music and listen to this gang-related music. And here's the thing, I want all our gang-banging brothers to stop doing what they do and have an out of the hood. I want all of our brothers to have a pathway to doing something different besides gang banging. I really do. But we got to get control over these influences. Single moms, if you're a single mom, if your baby daddy is in jail or he has been killed because of gang banging, okay, you need to move your kid out of that neighborhood. I don't care if you move your boy to the country. Let him have the worst, the boredom ever. Move your kid away from, and first of all, I'll tell you this, moving your kid away from the city sometimes will be cheaper too. Because if you go out into the rural areas, you're going to probably spend as much money as you would in the city. Black women need to get their kids out of the cities. They really need to get their sons out of the city. Take his ass to the country. Line him up with some farmers. Get his ass busy doing something behind and interested in something behind besides killing his own brother. Who I got ops. Let me keep up a Twitter beef. Let me keep let me put like, here's my location. Bat, you gone, my dog. I mean, these brothers on Twitter dry snitching. They out here killing each other, and then they go on Twitter and they dry snitch on themselves so everybody know exactly who got the body. That's basically what these young brothers is about. Body counts. You know, rest in peace, King Von. Rest in peace, King Von. But the shit that he was bragging about he was doing, rest in peace, FBG Duck. But the shit that he was bragging about he was doing, what pathway? I mean, we going to be at rest in peace in a lot of our brothers if we continue with this crazy shit of allowing this music and these behaviors to go on. I mean, I literally... And I'll tell you about my psychology. Like I said, I don't like looking at fight videos. I don't like looking at videos where people are dying. But something in me had me go onto this live, and I actually saw this young gang banging brother. And it's so weird because it's like these brothers ain't hard. They normal young men. They're normal young men on their psychology, but then they have these tendencies. And they have these practices. And this dude laughing and talking 1 minute, and then next thing you know, you're seeing him dying, being shot up, and you see him dying on the internet. And this is the world that we live in. But what did he allegedly do? He disrespected Nipsey Hussle's memorial. And now he's no longer with us. So my lesson to my people, and this is all people, because more than black children are involved in gang-related gang violence and even gang activities. We need to take our kids away from these areas. I mean, do you want your son alive, or do you want to be in an up and popping area where you can have a life? You know, being a parent means you have to sacrifice for your kids. And if that means that you got to take your son, your black son, out of the city, take your black son out of the city. I don't care who you know. Start fresh. I tell all my single moms, There are other areas where these people can live, these moms can live, but some of these moms are being very selfish as well. You want to be on the block that you used to. I get that, but you know this block is dangerous for your son to grow up in. And his daddy ain't there. His daddy not there. These young boys are lost, and the black community ignore them and their issues because my black community is too focused on pettiness, like how black women wear their hair. Let me tell you something. I go on the east side of Detroit a lot. And the only panhandlers that I will give money to are the kids. I will only give money to panhandlers that are young black boys. When I see a grown ass man on the east side of Detroit, outside of the gas station, outside of the liquor store, hey, you got this? Hell no, I ain't got shit for you. But I'm going to go down there and I'm going to give, like, I've gone into Little Caesars. I've seen little cats outside of Little Caesars just standing out there. I know your story. And I will walk out with 5 motherfucking pieces. Here you go. And because I don't want to give you no money because I don't know what your mama gonna do with her child, but at least you eating today. You know, I will go out and you just gotta extend yourself to these kids just to let them know that you're valuable and somebody care about you. Because these kids, they don't have nobody. Like a lot of these, even their mamas ain't really checking for them like that. I mean, there's a girl next door to my sister on the east side or whatnot, and she moved from that area, but this woman took her frustration out on her baby daddy who was in and out of that house, on her son. My sister has had to go over there and bring her over to her house just so she would let up off the boy. And I think the problem in the black community is too, we don't want to call CPS on nobody. We don't want to call CPS on nobody. We want to mind our own business. While a lot of these young black boys are being abused. They're being abused by their mammies. And we don't want to call CPS on these people because we don't want to be involved. And then the psychology of these young black boys continue. I'm a product of the foster care system, and let me tell you, whoever the fuck called CPS on my biological mama, thank you. Thank you. Because I was fortunate enough to get into the foster care system. And I say that shit real. I was fortunate enough to get into the foster care system. And I was fortunate enough to get into the home of a woman whose only mission was to make sure that we did not live the same realities that we were exposed to. I am very familiar with the life of being the dope house and having gang rivalries. I had guns on me when I was a young age. I know about that fucking life. But I also know about the neglect of the parents 360, where my mom had an option not to expose us to that shit, and she got with the wrong dude. And we were exposed to shit we just, kids should never be exposed to. So a lot of these people, a lot of black people, if we talking about coming together, we need to come together sensibly. And we need to stop. We don't want black kids in the system. No, we don't. But sometimes the system is the best place for some of these kids to be, unless a black family or a black somebody in their neighborhood is willing to inherit that child financially. Some black kids need to be in the system. Straight up. And I'm not even trying to front on that. I feel the same way. I'm not sponsoring a grown man drug addiction. I give the kids money to make sure they eat. Yeah, I don't mind giving the kids on the block because, if you ever want to feel the reality of at-risk kids, there's a movie with Jennifer Hudson called The Inevitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete. And it followed these at-risk kids who, obviously, a lot of these kids, when school is in session, they rely on the school lunches and stuff because sometimes that's the only time these kids can eat. And it followed, these 2 young boys who pretty much survived the summer without getting snatched up, and just really trying to make it without their mothers. And these are the kids that I give money to because I know that just as well as some of these daddies ain't shit, These mothers ain't shit either. Some of these black mothers are selfish and they're not shit. And I've observed some of them and they're devastating for their kids. When you want to talk about toxic home environments, I have observed this so many different times. So many different times. It's not all parents, but there are some parents in these at-risk neighborhoods who absolutely should not have their children for a variety of different reasons. And what happens is they neglect that boy up until he's about 13, and then they really don't care because he's grown and then he can go off and do whatever he wants to do, meet up with the wrong people. And then next thing you know, the neighborhood drug dealer is raising her son and getting him into all kinds of shit that's eventually going to get him killed. These are serious conversations. And it's like, I'm tired of people. We need to do this. Let's get down to the root cause of some of this stuff. Single moms need to get out of at-risk neighborhoods. Move your kid to this country. Once you make a decision to have kids, and even if the man chooses not to stay or whatever reason or whatever, don't raise your black boy in the city. Don't raise your black boy in the city. You take him on the outskirts where he even if he can have a mixture of people he's around, but he's not around bullshit. He's not around bullshit. I look at some of these houses in the inner city at-risk areas, and to rent some of these houses is the same as going and renting a house in a not so developed area, but you still have access and you can raise your son in a less violent area. There are things that people can do to mitigate some of this gang stuff that's going on with these young boys. I mean, he ain't got no money to go back to the life. So my thing is, take his ass out and put him somewhere where he can get correction and structure. So that is my spiel. It was really sort of a devastating thing watching that young boy get killed on IG Live, you know, in the sense that it was sad, but it didn't just shake my feelings. It just really made me want to speak out about this a little bit more. I think the more voices that we have, and everybody ain't gonna have to be right, everybody ain't gonna have to sound right, but the more we have black people speaking on our issues in a holistic and anecdotal way, I feel like the better we will see progress. And I agree, we need opportunities we need pathways, we need opportunities in these at-risk neighborhoods as an alternative to gang violence. We need more community fathers. And like I said, I don't think that single men with no children should take on the burdens, financial burdens of single black women with children. You don't have to do that. But we do still need community mentors and community dads in a lot of these young men's life. A lot of these young men are smarter than a lot of people would even give them credit for, but they need somebody to foster them more. And if that means that a young black man who's successful in a trade, take him on. Check out King Randall. Check out King Randall, because what he's doing to those what he's doing for those boys is amazing. He's like, look, the government is not going to help us out. He got those brothers working on computers. He got them working on cars. He's doing a lot of stuff Kwame Brown is talking about in terms of the skilled trades. He's doing that right now with these young brothers, and he's getting the support. My LinkedIn connection is huge. And so I posted his story, and I had investors coming at me. How do I contact this young man I want to support? There are a lot of investors out there that are looking to support meaningful initiatives for young black men. And I think people need to start being realistic of that. As people are talking about starting schools and getting trade schools going, you need to start thinking about the fact that you have people who are willing to give money to people, and all they want to see is a return of their investment. I'm a single black mother that has always worked extremely hard to live in the suburbs with no welfare assistance for my two sons, and some people have the nerve to tell me to live in the city. Girl, I'm with you. I've never, ever, 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 ever wanted to live in the city unless it was a very nice part of the city on the outskirts. I pay money and I work so that I don't have to live in certain areas and expose my kids to certain types of environments. You know what I mean? My kids' dad and I, we're not bougie. We are not bougie, but we understand the environment that we want our kids to be subjected to. And I think more parents need to at least start being more bougie about where you live in connection with the opportunities of where you live is going to afford your kids. You know what I mean? A lot of people are making, I know a lot of moms who they're looking for the cheapest way out. Oh, this is cheap, and then I'll still have money to be able to do whatever I want to do and be out here in these streets. And that is not acceptable. Women need to, single moms especially, we really need to understand that our kids are our priority. Once you make that executive decision to have kids, I'm sorry, guys. I was really trying to not. We gotta go. We gotta go. But protect your sons. Protect your sons, y'all. Protect your boys. And women need to, I don't care if you gotta work 3 jobs to keep your kid out of the city and out of situations where they're gonna be lined up with other young men that's going to lead them down the path of death. Because that's what a lot of these young men are doing. They are linking up with other young men that are leading them down the path to death. So a lot of these moms need to start asking their sons, are you planning on dying today or next week? I need to know. And then the sons are going to be like, what, mom? What are you talking about? Are you planning on dying? Tell me when you plan on dying. Is it next week or today? So I can prepare my mind, because what you're doing and who you're hanging out with is going to lead you to death. So I'm going to start telling people in the family to start preparing for your ass dying. This is the shit you got to talk to your boys like that. Unfortunately, the hard truth. Are you trying to go to jail next week, or are you trying to die? Let me know so I can prepare my mind, because you ain't trying to do shit else with those things. Go to jail or die. Seriously. And mothers need to start getting in their sons' asses about these things. If you don't want to listen to me, fine. You're going to listen to somebody in the jail. And they might beat your ass and rape you all the while, because you're really not the man that you think you are. And give these boys a reality check. Saying you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't be hanging out with him. That's not enough. It's not enough. You hang out with Ray Ray. Ray Ray hangs out with killers. Your ass is going to die. You got to get in your son's mind. The choices that you make are going to lead to death. There is no other options. There are too many case studies that say that people that do what you do will die. You will die, son. And we should put that in our sons, black sons' mind every day. You do that, you're going to die. You're taking a gamble on your life. So if you feel like dying today, go ahead and do that. I came in late to the live, but I'm a friend of the show. Hey, thank you, Travis. I saw this young brother get killed on IG Live. I was looking at that tape. I didn't set out to go and look for somebody that died. It was a live stream. A brother was talking about it. Supposedly, this brother allegedly disrespected Nipsey Hussle's memorial, and people knew who he was. And unfortunately, within a very short duration of time, this brother was killed. And the original conversation here was that we need to stop disrespecting the dead. That is a trend. It is such a trend now for people to fix their lips to disrespect dead people. And this is the evil that has come into the heart condition of our at-risk black men. That they don't look at their brothers as other human beings. They look at them as ops, a video game, nothing. A lot of boys link up with the wrong people to avoid getting their butt whooped, and the parents are too worried about dressing nice and having a nice car and cheap when it comes to the quality of life. That is the thing. You got a lot of black people who are living well outside of their means for a stunt game, trying to keep up with the Joneses. And while you keeping up with the Joneses right now, your son, you are literally for that extra $200-300 that you want to party with or whatever, you could be living in a better area where your son is not subjected to those types of influences. I mean, when you break it on down, a lot of these moms and a lot of these parents who are living in the hood, some of them don't have to live in the hood per se, but a lot of them are married to the hood culture themselves. You know, when you think about it, a lot of these kids are growing up in the hood because their parents are married to the hood culture. They can't see themselves living anywhere outside of the hood culture. You know, I've had friends over on the east side. I'm like, girl, you working this many job, you working this, you making this much money, girl. You can be living over here. You can be doing that. Oh, I don't want to be living around all them white people. Okay, so you'd rather subject your son to this bullshit. Some people run with the most ignorant mindsets, and those mindsets are what are impacting our young brothers too. I mean, and we need to be real about this. I mean, let's take the white man out of the equation. Take the white man out of the equation. How are black people parenting their kids these days? How are we parenting? How are we driving? Let me tell you something. My mom used to tell us like shit, like I just said, like, well, you're going to die if you do that. A lot of people be like, well, damn, why you do that? Like, my mom was real talk, though. It's like, if you do this dumb shit, this is the ultimate consequence that you're going to experience. It wasn't, well, something bad is going to happen. My mom was specific about what that bad thing would be. You're going to get pregnant, and you'll probably take up with a dude that don't want you. She was real about that shit, whether I listened or not. I mean, I didn't get pregnant by a guy that didn't want me, but I'm just saying, it's a story. But parents need to start being real with their kids. It's all about the radio, especially out here in Atlanta. The crime rate is, hang on, honey, go hang out with Dylan for a second. The crime rate out here went sky high. I think it's because the music that they are. Oh, I definitely believe that. I was just talking about that Pooh Shiesty song, "Get It Back in Blood," and that song bangs out here in Detroit. It bangs out here in Detroit, along with a host of other gang banger related music, and they're wondering why the crime rates are going up. This music is the anthem for these brothers going out and doing these things. And then you add defunding the police. It's like these brothers, to me, I feel like they're under demonic influence vicariously through the music. And before you came in, Travis, I was talking about this other YouTuber who was trying to spiritually cleanse himself, and he said that he had to stop listening to certain artists like Lil Durk, because he said every time he would listen to Lil Durk, he would feel this negative energy. And he was like, it was something about Lil Durk's music I couldn't understand. He was like, it was just making me feel like rage and that is the devil's. A lot of people don't realize Satan influences many different ways, and music has the quickest access to the brain. Music is, when you listen to music, a lot of people go through what they call music therapy, right? Because music is that sound travels in the brain in a different way. And somebody in the music industry understood that. I was actually looking at a rock band, and he was showing me he got out of the industry because he got tired of that satanic lifestyle. He was actually he talked about how he was lucky to be away from it where they don't bother him, but he played the devil's riff in rock music. And I had to think about all the rock songs. I'm like, oh shit, they all got that riff. He said that is the devil's riff. So you can imagine in hip hop music, there are different sequences of music that influences the mind. I mean, I'm telling you, when I hear Pooh Shiesty "Get It Back in Blood," I feel gangster myself for a second. Shoot. This music got us feeling mad gangster. I mean, killed your man, you keep on talking, better get that shit in blood. Give my shorty them a dub and they gonna walk inside the club. I mean, come on. That is, I mean, think about what this brother is saying. And these young brothers, they listening to it, and a lot of these young brothers ahead, they know what he's talking about. You give your shorty them a dub and they gonna walk inside the club, they about to switch somebody off. And he's very specific about what he means by that. And this is what we're playing on the radio. So yeah, it's like they promote it's demonic rap. It's demonic rap. And like I said, I didn't want to make this a super long live, but I really want black people, like I said, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, does not care about black people. I'm on my Kanye West shit right now. The FCC does not care about black people, because if they cared about black people, they would not be promoting music about black on black crime. They just would not be doing that. They would not be doing that. So I am about to get off. Marshall, you're right. I am about to get with Boss Man because they need to be put down. This is summer hours, so it's no school, but I still got to get up and get my butt to work. So speaking of work, oh my God, I have so I can't even talk about my job right now. I have anxiety about my job right now. That's all I can say. But you guys have a wonderful evening. Please be real with your kids. Be real with them. You're going to get pregnant and then you're going to be a baby mama, or you're going to get killed hanging with that brother. Son, when would you like to die? Are you planning on dying at 12 or 3 o'clock today? Huh? What you talking about, Mom? You know why? Because you hanging with boys that have nothing but get your ass killed written all over their faces. So please, mind your boys. Single moms, stop being selfish. Stop being selfish. Your good time ended the moment you popped out that baby. Start living in areas where your son can thrive. Because we already know some of these single moms get way too much money to be living where they live in, and they live in there by choice, not because they care about the environment that their son is subjected to, but because they want to be relevant on a block that don't give a fuck about them anyways. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Travis. So much. We're going to have to keep spreading these messages. The more of us talking about these problems, the more it's going to start resonating. This is what it means by being a black voice. Everybody talking about the same thing. We can talk about it different ways, but at least we are raising our voices to address these issues. So good night. Have a wonderful work week, everyone. And thanks for tuning in. And hit the subscribe and like button if you dig the conversation. Take care. Bye.